When Tears of the Kingdom revealed that you could use the Ultrahand ability, it got everyone's mind racing. And since release, the creativity shown by the Zelda community has been nothing short of insane. And many of these builds can be lumped together in different kinds of categories. So, using my little robot mind, I'm going to give a guess at the kind of person you are based on what kind of build you focus on while playing Tears of the Kingdom, and what that says about you. If I'm right, you gotta let me know in the comments. Those are the rules, the air bike / Goblin glider. The air bike really blew up on the internet after the release of Tears of the Kingdom, and rightfully so. It's just extremely useful. We made a TikTok about it, and it really blew up over there. Though, based on many of the comments, YouTuber Uncle Dane originated the idea. Totally a coincidence, by the way, I had never even heard that video, but credit where credit is due, he did get to it first. And he has a really good in-depth video about it too, so be sure to check that out. If you use the air bike, you are all about efficiency. You want to travel through the depths going from light route to light route, filling out your map as quickly as possible. If there's a puzzle that needs solving, it doesn't matter what the game actually wants you to do, because the solution is always use an air bike. I've even caught myself auto-building this thing just to go from a fast travel shrine to the Great Fairy Fountain. It's just convenient. You spend hours getting the build just right in order to avoid drifting. You are particular about all the solutions you chose, and you will always take the path of least resistance where you can. Similarly, you could opt for the Goblin glider if only to be able to fly around saying, "Godspeed, Spider-Man." The airstrike. I'm classifying the airstrike as any vehicle made to rain death from above. This could be a floating drone made out of hover platforms and rockets, or a goblin glider decked out with lasers and cannons. Some people may even drop a giant Zonai charge and bring in a giant AC-130 build. If you use these tactics, you're the closest thing to a speedrunner of anyone on this list. You want to see how quickly you can clear out a monster camp. You may even be keeping time. And most likely, you're using the camp in the middle of Hyrule Field, south of Lookout Landing. That's right, I'm seeing right through you. Those explosive barrels help you out and get you an even faster clear time to make an even more impressive video clip to post on Reddit. I know because I've watched and liked most of them. You'll go to the coast and carpet bomb the bokoblins marching in a line, because why else would they be there than to be target practice for your latest invention? Laser auto-tracking cannon blasts and flamethrowers setting everything on fire, all while you fly safely overhead with your complimentary package of peanuts. The all-terrain vehicle. Like the airstrike, I'm gonna lump a lot of different designs into this category. In this case, it's things like tanks, all-terrain vehicles, and yes, even giant mecha suits. These are made to keep the driver safe, usually by closing Link into a secure place while the cannons and weapons do their thing, at least until a Gleeok or Lionel roars and breaks everything. If you build these, then you like being the strongest thing on the battlefield. You don't want to be far away from the fighting like the airstrike category, you want to be in the middle of the explosion. Drive right into an enemy camp and dominate everything that dares to come after you. It doesn't matter how many hearts you have, you are untouchable. And if you're really creative, you may even think of creative ways to lock yourself into the driver's seat. Whether it's ascending into it or using a spring to lock the doors behind you, you are safe and secure, but still in the middle of it, and that's the way you want it. The Segway. When you need to get from point A to point B, there's really no simpler way than getting 2 wheels and a control stick. Maybe 4 wheels if you want a little car, but the Segway is the fastest way to travel on the ground. And that's the thing, you don't want to be on an air bike and fly over everything, you don't want to teleport from spot to spot, you want to keep your feet on the ground, experience the world around you, see what has been created for you. Every hill is an adventure, and every enemy an obstacle. It also doesn't matter how efficient it is, it's all about the style. In reality, you're the most chill person around. You want to experience everything the game wants you to experience. After all, the tutorials all wanted you to make machines like these to transport things around. There's even supply depots with parts specifically made to help with these kinds of builds. Even wooden wheels if you need them. Nintendo said, this is how you should experience the game, so that's what you're gonna do. Because it takes too much energy to argue with that logic, you know? Just relax and drive around the world in your car, your go-kart, your Segway, or your horse-drawn carriage. And hey, while you're chilling, why don't you hit that subscribe button, by the way, and like this video while you're at it. It's free and it genuinely helps our little channel. The Korok punishments. You are a sociopath, and I have the feeling that this is either only just awakened something in you or provided an outlet for all those pent-up tendencies. Tears of the Kingdom provided you with a helpless creature that needs you to move them around however you like, and they'll let you do it. So of course the first thing you think to do is strap a rocket to them and blast them off into the sunset, or throw them off a cliff, or set them on fire, strap them to a cross, gather them up and spit roast them on a rotisserie. These little guys will take the punishment and then ask, "Please sir, can I have some more?" And you are more than happy to oblige them. You're just kinda mean, or at least deep down you are. You're taking all of your frustrations out on these helpless creatures with infinite HP because it's easy to do. You honestly kinda scare me. Crowd control. Unlike the cute little Koroks, the Bokoblins actually fight back. They're your enemies and they are trying to hurt you, and that means they're free game to do whatever you want to them. Build a cage that cooks them alive, make a riot control scooper with springs and electric rods, a lawnmower using swords, or otherwise trap the enemies in ways meant to do them harm, but in the most inefficient way possible to make them hurt the most. You want these creatures spawned from Ganon's malice to suffer. You are also a sociopath, but you know it. You would never do the same thing to those precious Koroks. They are innocent, but Bokoblins are far from innocent. To you, they are open season. You are John Wick, and the Bokoblins just attacked your dog. To quote Doctor Who, demons run when a good man goes to war. Tallboy. When Tears of the Kingdom came out, you saw all these fancy builds, and the thing you thought of was, what if I make an extremely tall unicycle? And then, when that somehow worked, you took it to the next level. How tall could it go? Will having too many logs make it so I can't control it? How will I get to the control stick? These are all questions you wanted answered. You even scoured the world to find the tallest trees. First, you went with the palm trees in Laurelin Village, but then you discovered that the dead trees actually make taller logs and pivoted to that. And somehow, you made it work, completely breaking the physics of the game. You are a scientist by nature. You saw how the physics worked, how everything was built, and you asked, what's the farthest I can go with this dumb idea? Maybe it's not exclusive to the Tallboy builds, but the point is you took things that others would take for granted and took it to the absolute extreme just to see what would happen. You rejected the reality of Hyrule and substituted your own. The statues. We've all seen the statue that one guy made that was peeing, and that opened the floodwaters on all kinds of builds like it. No pun intended. When you use Ultrahand, you aren't making vehicles or anything you can actually control. You are making art. Whether you can drive it or not, you're making a Ferrari out of sleds. You're role-playing your favorite historic fables with the Trojan horse, using lasers to create a disco or fashion show runway, or you're just making the coolest looking thing using the bones of the behemoths. You are a capital A artist. You're not worried about enemies or Ganon or even saving Hyrule. You just want to make cool looking stuff. Take a picture with it, and share it for all the world to see. You'll scour through all the Zonai dispensers looking for that one obscure part you need for your build, because it looks the best, even if no one else in the world would use it. I mean, cooking pots, who uses the cooking pots? They only can go once, and that's stupid. But they make great joints for your latest masterpiece, so you need as many of them as you can get your hands on. Or even rarer, you'll go into a shrine and get those one-of-a-kind pieces, fuse them to a stick, and then go to Terrytown to defuse it so you can use it in your own build. The out of control. If you're not out of control, you're not in control. These are any builds where you just let the randomness flow through you. A giant snake that flops around? Sure. A wheel attached to a wheel attached to a wheel attached to a wheel attached to a wheel. Sounds good to you? You want to make an actual horse with 4 legs, but there's no way to get those legs synced up, but somehow it still works? These builds are all kind of looking like those wacky, wavy, inflatable tube men you see when the used car lot has a sale going on. If the tall boys are the scientists, you guys are the mad scientists. You're making Frankenstein monsters, robbing graves for parts, and just sticking them together to see what happens. If you saw someone make a piston in order to pet the dogs, you thought, hey, that could make a really great leg. Just to clarify, I mean the piston, not the dog. Musical instruments. Did you know that you can actually play music using the Zonai devices? Specifically, the stakes. They make different sounds depending on how far into the ground they are or if another one is stacked on top of it. Strike it and it makes a note. interesting, you may have thought. So the next logical step was to use a laser that passes over each note, and then you have to find ways to make that laser hit the notes at the speed you want them to hit. It's all one big math problem that you are all too eager to tackle, and that's because you are a musician. Of course, you want to make Saria's song using Zonai devices, or even better, Megalovania from Undertale. But honestly, the creativity needed to even make these kinds of builds work is beyond anything I'm able to do in this game. And that's because you actually need to know how notes work, and I don't. So if you're able to create these beautiful symphonies, I applaud you, you future Beethovens and Bachs. So, did I see right through anyone? Did I get anything wrong? Did I maybe skip a category you were thinking and hoping for? Be sure to let me know down in the comments below, and if you made it all the way to the end, you're a real one.